All right, good afternoon, folks. Welcome to another round of coffee and questions, but it's in the afternoon, so it's more like water and questions. It's hot in the garage, so I'm going to move out of the garage in a second, and I'm going to turn the question part of things over to Charlie. And Charlie's going to read to you some common questions, and I'm going to give you what I believe is a good, solid answer. After looking into it on the forum, asking around, I gathered up some pictures on the web. Not all of them are always going to be mine, but they do demonstrate the best way to maybe make something or to do something. So I'll show them to you here in a bit, and where I can, I'll actually show you in the shop. Where I can't, I'll put up still photographs. We'll talk about it. But for right now, we'll turn it over to Charlie. That's his name for at least the moment, my little puppet helper. And, well, we got Tina, the shop girl. I don't know where she is. She vanishes all the time. Okay, folks, here is Charlie.
Handyman, do you have any ideas for making a simple bench, kind of a stand for my chop saw? I don't want it very wide, I don't want it very long, but I want it made out of metal. So what kind of metal should I use, and what do you think I should do, or what's an inexpensive way to do it?
Yeah, there is, Charlie. Let's take a look. This is Tina, the shop girl. She's out there working away. I appreciate it. Let me change the picture, though, and I'll show you how we can do this. Hang on. Okay, so what you're looking at here in the picture is a picture I used a while back as a pattern. I made and sold kind of a bunch of these. I don't know, 4 or 5. I don't know. It's not really a bunch, but it's made out of just rectangular tube steel. Okay, so your first tip, go out to a steel supplier. Like I told you, stay away from the big box stores. You can get angle iron, hot rolled, you can get tube steel. Now this tube steel does not have to be thick gauged, okay? It's just a tool stand. So ask them where they keep their cutoffs. Take a look over in the scrap section. Sometimes you'll find, fairly decent sized cutoffs that are scrap. Other times you're gonna have to buy it in full lengths, okay? And it's still not that expensive. Depends on your steel supplier. But this is just like a basic rectangle. I mean, take a look at this. Very simple to weld, very simple to do. So get your steel, bring it home, use your 4.5-inch angle grinder with a flap disc on it. Clean off the ends of it, which is kind of like weld prepping and getting it ready. Cut your angles, or if you're going to leave it square, however you want to lay this out. You could sketch it out on paper at first. But what I do is I ask somebody, well, what are you going to put on top of it? Now, the last one I made, he was going to put a chop saw on top of it. And I said, okay, so how big is your chop saw? And then so we rough out some dimensions. It doesn't have to be that big. And we went ahead and we laid it out like this, and we figured out the height, the width, the length, all of that. And you can do this real quickly, easily. The welds are simple to do. Go back, clean up your welds, and then decide whether or not you want to put casters on it, wheels. Harbor Freight, in spite of everybody criticizing them, they do sell good quality wheels as long as you don't get the real cheapies. I think it's polyethylene or something like that. They're like a hard rubbered material. Somebody can drop below and correct me on what they call them. Those are the ones that I prefer because they ride and glide easily right across my shop floor, which is concrete. So I put those on the bottom, makes the cart mobile. And you can get them with locking wheels or without locking wheels or whatever you want. That's your choice. Now, these are fast and easy to make. They're also easy to sell. I mean, people that have shops that maybe, in their garage and they don't have welders, as long as you don't charge an astronomical price, I mean, they buy these. One guy I sold 3 of them to. I made them just slightly different dimensions because he wanted to put different pieces of equipment on top. Now, the top, while you're out there, if you want, you can get plate steel. You can get that diamond plate. Sometimes you just get regular flat. Sometimes they sell it to you cheap and even cut off. Sometimes they'll sell it to you at the normal price, but it's based on square footage and it's still pretty cheap. So I always look in the cutoffs first before I go over and I pick out anything else. Your other option is to put a wood top on it, like 3/4-inch plywood. Pick it up out at the big box stores. Secure it to the top. The other thing you can do, you can design this yourself. Now you have all this length in there from the bottom to the top. You can put a couple pieces of angle iron in there, and you can put wood shelves in there. You can put things in there. Like I said, you can put wheels on it. While you're out there, a couple of times I found cutoffs of 1/4-inch round steel, hot rolled steel, and small lengths. And I bring it home, I cut it, and I bend it in my vise, and I make hooks, and then I weld the hooks on the side of this. and you can drape like cords, you can hang tools on it. You can make any design you want out of this once you get going. But the question is, can I make something cheap, easy, and quick, you know, to put like equipment on and still be kind of mobile? So those are my thoughts on it. These are fast, they're easy to do, they work great. If you got any other questions, I mean, drop them, you know, of course, in the comment below. One of the things I get asked frequently is, you know, how do I weld prep it? Well, when I'm done, I use the 4.5 inch angle grinder, whether it's 60 or 80 grit. I touch up all the welds, I make them look nice. Then I wipe this whole thing down with acetone. Now, somebody asked me, you know, to use primer on something like this. Yes, I've used primer. And then, you know, I've lightly sanded it and then shot it whatever color I wanted. You don't have to do that. I know people that don't use primer. They just go ahead and they paint it. But I would encourage you at least to go over it with acetone, because it'll make the paint stick much better. Paint it whatever color you want. Now, the last two we did in John Deere green, because it's the paint that I had laying around. And the guy didn't care. He thought it was a pretty cool color. So those are kind of like my thoughts on this. If you take a look behind here, you're going to see there's a parts bin where a guy made a big cart and he made parts bins for whatever it is that, you know, he's working on and building. You could do that too if you have a shop big enough. Well, I don't. I work out of the garage. But these smaller, tall stands right here, you know, I have two of them and I keep them outside. I don't have anything on them. But when I'm going to use a piece of equipment, you know, I take it out, I set it on top of there. You know, sometimes it's for cutting logs like lumber. Sometimes it's my miter. It depends, you know. So you can permanently affix things to the top of it with bolts, of course, once you put that plywood or that steel on there, or not. And then, you know, it's up to you. But the design part of this is kind of fun. You can use horseshoes. I sell them. If you want to contact me, cut them in half, weld them on there. Those make good loops for, you know, cords. You can use, like I said, the 1/4 inch round steel or whatever you have laying around. Just design it and have fun with it once you get it to this point. Keep a photo on your phone, show it to friends, start selling them. That's what I do. It's kind of your quick tip of the day. I hope you enjoy the video. And these are just my thoughts on this. This is like a picture I have on my phone. I use it, I show it to people, and I sell them from time to time. All right, folks, give me a thumbs up. Click subscribe. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.